Yeah, there's the first one over there. We're gonna walk over there in just a minute, but there's the first lock. The levee right over there. This is the old canal where they turn the water so boats could get in these canals and get upstream and downstream, get past these rocks. Let's walk over here to this first lock is. By God, Woodrow, we can do it, couldn't we? We could go straight across to that beach over there.
Yeah, we can do it.
We might bust our butt a couple of times. But it's something that me and you would undertake. It's amazing how they built this so long ago. And they had mules pulling the boats up. And they had gates on each end of this thing. And there's where the water would come in. The boats would come in here. They'd open that gate and they close that one on the end so this thing would fill up with water. Then they close this back gate, and then the mules would walk on the trail pulling the barges up and downstream. Those little indentations are where they had another gate.
What do you reckon the depth of these things were? I believe it must have been deeper than what we're seeing here.
Yeah, I imagine they got a lot of dirt and sand and stuff that accumulated in the bottom over the years. These things have been here since the early 1800s, but look at the stonework. How they cut those stones from rock quarries, hauled them out here to build these things. And they got a series of them. This is just the first one. And then that's the levee where a mule, they took a rope to the bars and mules would walk along pulling it. Of course, back then all these trees wasn't around it. They cut those trees down. But they had this technology. And these smooth rocks, you can actually see some of the hammer chisel marks on them. That was rough work back then.
I think if a man was to work on stone like this, chisel it, hammer it, tow it with a mule, at the end of the day, he'd probably feel a lot better off than modern man does, not figuring out, because nothing gets accomplished now without a computer.
Yeah.
He'd be tired, he'd eat good.
Sleep good.
Sleep good. Be a lot better.
You go down to the tavern, get him an ale.
Go to the tavern? Sure.
And they made this stuff right here locally, but back then the Catawba Indians, a few other tribes around here, they were doing trade. At the other end of this thing, there's a big sign talking about the Native American trail that led to a couple of different states.
We'd be better off. We took a little bit of a step back.
Yeah.
Maybe not back before a shower or a toilet, but back when you did something with your hands and you had something to show for it at the end of the day and was grateful for what you had. I believe we'd be better off.
1815, 1820 or before they built this and it's still here. I think the The world of mankind's on a downward spiral.
I'm with you on that.
We're not going to go all the way down to the other end. Yeah, it's beautiful. A lot more of these down that way. It runs back into the river. We're going to find us a place to go fishing. All right, walk a week. Let's find us a fishing hole.